Okay, today I'm going to start on a new project. This is an Exidy crash PCB. It's one that I bought on eBay a long time ago, and I had made a harness for it, but that's as far as I got. This is what you get on this board when it's powered up. There's no sync at all, and I can't tell what the data is. It's garbage, but there may be no way for it to play without the sync signal. These two chips here are supposed to be PROMs. And that's what's used to generate the sync and assist with the video generation. So without these, I don't think the game can play. At least it's not displayable. So that's why there's no sync, because those are missing. Now, to get around that, I didn't want to use two expensive PROMs to replace those. So I contracted PCBWay to build a board to replace those. So this will plug into one of these, and then I will program a 27W512, and it will plug into one and then jumper the data bits to the other. These basically replace a single by 8 ROM, if you will, and that's what I'll be doing with this PCB. So I need to populate this and program up the code into here for the sync, and then that should clear up the video up there to where we can see garbage or the gameplay. I don't know. I really don't know what to expect. At any rate, this monitor is new to me. I found it walking one morning. Someone had thrown a couple of them away. I picked one because I don't have room for two. And this one came up. It works, and it's displaying an image, but it needs a cap kit. I need to replace caps in it, and that'll be a future project. But for now, it's working good enough. So let me populate this, and I'll need to program up a ROM, and then I'll see what happens. Okay, so this is a board that I started on a month ago. I made some videos on it, but I never released it, and I don't know if I can now, if I can even find those videos. But this is a dead board. The processor is showing that the pin 4 is always low, which is interrupt active. That's an interrupt bar signal. So when it's low, it's in interrupt mode. Now, if I reset it, or if I recycle the power, pin 4 goes up temporarily, and there's some activity on the data lines for the EPROM, but it's still a no-go. All you get is garbage on the screen. So I'm probing around to see if I can find a problem. But let me just comment here. This chip here, this EPROM, is one that I programmed a long time ago, when I had the ability to program 2532s, and I'm pretty sure that this is a chip I programmed and basically just took the code of all 8 of these PROMs and put it onto one. Each one of these were 500 bytes. This is a 4K byte, so 8 times 5 fits into this perfectly. I had originally installed it here, and that's wrong. According to the schematics, it needs to be here, because all the other ones have an inverted address line to enable it, and I need this data to be non-inverted for all the address lines for it to be enabled. So I moved it from here to here, and that didn't make any difference. Also, I had found that this chip was bad, and I think I mentioned that in one of the previous videos. This chip was bad. Let's see. I also made this. This chip was missing. This has something to do with syncing the data. And it was a PROM that these two PROMs were missing, actually. So I built this board and replaced the two PROMs that were there with a fast double EPROM. So that should be good. But, I mean, I can't confirm it until I get the board running. Let's see. So what I'm doing is I'm going around, and I've got a ground wire to an awl, to an ice pick. And I'm basically shorting the reset pin on the processor, and I'm probing around. Well, these 3 chips here, let me get the schematic. These 3 chips here, and this one's been replaced already, I may have done that, are basically buffers for the address lines. This, let's see, this chip here, I've just looked at it, and it looks like one of the pins is not toggling, one of the outputs. So this one is looking bad to me. And of course, if the address lines aren't working, the program's not going to run. So I'm going to replace that and see if we get any change. Right now, when I short the reset pin on the processor, it will toggle for a very brief moment, like a tenth of a second. I can see activity on the data lines and the address lines. So let me replace that chip and then let me do some more testing. Okay, so I've replaced this chip and it makes no difference. One of the pins is still not changing. I did notice though, after I replaced the chip, that it is a short to 5 volts. This pin number 3, which is an output, is shorted to 5 volts. It's not the chip, so it's got to be an external short. Let me see if I can figure out where that is. Okay, so this one's a weird one. It was a short to 5 volts on this pin 3, and I could confirm that by shorting ground to it, and that would short out the power supply. Now it's not doing it. I was getting signals on all the chips. It still wasn't running. The CPU is still in interrupt, constant interrupt. So then all of a sudden it did it again. It was a short to 5 volts again. So something fishy is going on here. One of these capacitors or something. The leg is intermittently touching 5 volts. I don't know. I've got to figure this out. But it's weird. So right now it's not shorted, but still the game's not running. Just garbage on the screen. Let me keep probing around. Okay, so the short on pin 3 of this chip has been resolved. That's address line 9, by the way. The problem was it was coming over to this chip as part of the chip enable, and this socket that I plugged the chip into has exposed metal, and it was basically shorting the 5 volts that's on the board into the chip. You can, if you look at my chip here, pins are pulled out and attached for the enable and for keeping a line high, and it was basically shorting. So I just put a piece of black tape underneath that pin, and now it's not shorting anymore. Not much has improved though because of that. Occasionally I can get the processor to loop or something. The non-maskable interrupt on pin 4 is mostly active in that state, but the program is not running. It's just running garbage. So let me just keep probing around and see if I can find anything else. Okay, today's the next day, and I'm continuing with my efforts on this Exidy crash PCB. The address lines are all checking out now with the fix of the short on that chip on the EPROM. I've checked the data lines, and I'm focusing on these RAMs. I didn't know this. The RAMs, the schematics show there are 4 RAMs here, but when you look at it, there's only 2, and then there's 2 places here marked spare. So this schematic is a general purpose schematic for other games as well, I suppose. So these 2 chips here are the only RAMs for the program loop, anyway, that are necessary. There's also these 5 RAMs here, or actually, let's see, it looks like 6 RAMs. No, 8 RAMs. We have 8 RAMs here that are 2102s, and that's going to be for the video. So when I probe each of these address lines, data lines on the RAMs, they're all high on that chip. Oh, that one's not. So that one's floating. That indicates a problem. On the other chip, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Those all look good. So this one here has a bad output. Apparently, it's only it should be high like the other ones, but it's floating in the middle. See that? So I'm going to remove this. I don't have a 2111, but I can remove it and see what the other data lines look like with it out of circuit. And maybe I have one on an old board I can steal or something. So let me do that and put a socket where that goes, and I'll be back. Okay, so I pulled the RAM out of the board, and I tested it on the tester, the retro chip tester, and it passes. So the RAM is good. That's good because they're expensive and rare. Probed around without the chip in there, and all the lines are being driven except for that one again. So I knew it wasn't the RAM at that point. I don't know what the problem is, or if there is even a problem. I'm not sure. All I know is the D7 line is different than the others. So I'm going to focus on the D7 line and see what chip may be affecting that. Why all the data lines are high except for that one, and hopefully I can find a problem. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on probing. I'll be back. Okay, so I've probed around. I'm not seeing any problems with the address lines or the data lines when I reset the processor, when I short the reset to ground to reset it. It will run briefly something, garbage program or something, and then it will get an interrupt signal, and that stays low and doesn't return. So this thing is doing something until it hits an interrupt command, and then it just hangs. So I'm thinking there's something going on with this program ROM. I don't even know if this is the right one. This is just one I thought I created years ago. It may be wrong. It may be, the code may be bad, or it may be wired incorrectly. But I'm going to build a board to replace this ROM. Actually, this whole set of ROMs. I'm going to build a single ROM or a single board to replace all those ROMs. And it will plug in this position here. It's going to plug into location 8A. Each one of these has a different address range, basically, and I'm going to be using that one for the whole thing. So I'm going to put this one on the shelf until I get that done, and then I got a suspicion that it's going to work. I think it's going to come up when I do that, hopefully. If the program ROM is the problem. This is a candidate for writing another self-test program, actually. I might do that if I get enough energy in me. But I need to know that the ROM is correct, that the circuitry for the ROM is correct. Right now, I'm just not sure about this one. And I can't program a 2532 at the time. The programmer for that, that I had for that, is not available at the moment. So I'll be replacing all these with a larger ROM. And that's a future project, future video. So that's it for now. I'm putting this one on the back shelf. I didn't really talk about this much. This replaces the sync PROMs. There were two PROMs here, and I put a larger EPROM to replace these. These share the same data, and the select is on a different address line, if you will, so that's why I can do it with one chip. I don't need two chips like this. And so that's what this was, and it seems like it's correct. And the video on the monitor when I have it turned on is solid. So I think the sync of it is fine. I don't believe that can prevent the program from running even if this is wrong. The signal, the video screen, the image on the screen is what I'm trying to say would be unstable if the sync was wrong. I believe that's all that would do. I might be completely wrong, but from the schematics, that's what it looks like to me. So I did find one or two bad chips in this, and I confirmed that the RAM is good. So I think we're good up to this point, and I will return once I get the ROM PCB that I'm going to be building back from fabrication. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.